let you down. Feel the pain all around. Keep the love in your heart and hold your head high. Harbor no hate.
Welcome to the Let That Go show with Kassira McKee and Richard Skipper. This show is based on Kassira's book, Let That Go, where she guides people in completely blessing and releasing people, places, and all kinds of things. Kassira and Richard share personal insights and experiences based on concepts in Kassira's book, with guests and you, their co-hosts. Are you ready to let that go? Let's go.
Hello, Kassira.
Hello, Richard.
How are you this
Oh,
evening?
Richard, where are you? Richard.
I'm here I'm wearing my butterfly costume.
Oh, yes, we're in the enchanted forest tonight. I'm a unicorn and you're a butterfly. You're an electric butterfly.
I'm an electric butterfly. Here we are.
And Carol's in the back with her. Can you see Carol?
Yes, here we are.
With her light up. Carol's got her light up horns on in the back.
Yes, my wings. I'm going to turn the lights on.
Take flight.
Yes. So we've got a little bit more light there.
I told him it's the Liberace electric butterfly in the enchanted forest.
It's the Liberace electric butterfly look.
Yeah.
Here we are tonight. How are you?
I am very happy to be here. Thank you.
I am very happy to be here as well.
We're getting into some really juicy stuff this month, and it's really fun.
I'm loving it. And I love the fact that you have sent me a complete outline all the way into December.
Yeah, all the way through December.
Yes. So we've made a commitment to each other.
Yep. You don't want to miss the shows going forward. It's a lot of juicy topics about holidays, getting through the holidays, traditions, what we desire versus what everybody expects of us, stress versus being having overcommitted ourselves, all kinds of stuff.
Absolutely. So Natasha is saying that she is seeing a lot of comments, but 90% of them are spam. So I don't see them where I am, so I don't know how you're seeing them. I changed things a little bit. In order to leave a comment, people have to be a subscriber.
Okay.
Because we were getting some weird comments the other night, but tonight
that was actually kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. It was funny. Well, but it's okay. It's all right. It's all right.
There are people out there. If it makes them happy, I'll let go of feeling anything towards them. But tonight we're going to be talking about a very unique topic: letting go of the evil within us. And all of us have that. Some people express it more than others. What triggers it the most with you, Kassira?
There's nothing that triggers it. I mean, it's a human thing. We're human beings. We all feel anger.
Mm-hmm.
We feel, in the book, I named the 8 basic feelings that the psychological world recognizes as feelings, and only one of them is considered positive. Think about that for a minute. I also state in the book that between 70 and 80 something % of our thoughts are negative.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that.
Wow. So
where do you think the quote unquote darkness comes from?
I'm going to leave the screen for a moment. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to go over to YouTube and I'm going to see what Natasha is referring to. So it's all yours for a few moments.
Da, 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 da. Hi, everybody. Okay, so what gave me this idea is not only where, people love to be scared in October. I don't know what it is. I guess it's the one month where society gives all of us the permission to be scared, but what's not scary about the world every day? It is a known fact that we all have in Buddhism we call it innate darkness. It's something that is, I don't like the word normal. I don't use it anymore because who's to say what's normal these days anymore? It's typical for everyone and everything to have a dark side. Even the sweetest dogs in the world, like little puppies and kitties, get upset, get mad at us. So we all have that within us. what I'd like to talk about tonight is, instead of running from it, hiding from it, denying it, sweeping it under the rug, vampire, embracing it, embracing our dark side. That means jumping in head first, looking at it from this angle, looking at it from this angle, looking at it straight ahead, from above, from below. It looks interesting from this angle. Oh, that looks interesting. Oh, that looks interesting. We all have that in us. And if here's a beautiful step towards healing that, is recognizing it in the first place. When it occurs, when we create it, when we're thinking it, when we're feeling it, when we're speaking out of it, when we're acting on it, the first thing is to just notice it. It's just to be aware. The awareness of it is where it all starts. Oh, when I'm working my civilian job, I get angry. I get frustrated. I get really frustrated. And frustrated is really a combination for me of anger and disappointment, and sometimes sadness. And I catch myself. I actually, for the first time in months, had to apologize. I felt moved to apologize to somebody yesterday who snapped at me, and I snapped back, which is not who I am now. Yet I did that in order to clear the karma, clear the karma, yet also take responsibility for it. I work in the medical industry, and man, is it tough sometimes. I'm not going to lie to you. It's tough. However, I caught it immediately and apologized for it. So but you said, what's my innate darkness?
No, I
Really,
asked what the trigger was.
I don't have triggers. Some people may have them. I don't really have the triggers for innate darkness. It just comes from usually a thought and then a feeling. It's a thought and a feeling. And it's typically when I'm overcommitted in something, when I'm just way overcommitted. If I don't like the word overwhelmed or stressed out. I'm overcommitted. If I get to those points, I know I've overcommitted myself. And that was what happened yesterday. I was just completely overcommitted. And to be honest with you, I was drowning in the environment's negativity. I was drowning
about that.
I was drowning in the negative energy of the environment. I mean, I was imploding from the negative energy around me. I mean, it was heavy, and it was just coming down on me, because as an energy person, I feel it a lot more than some other people. And so it really, it's being overcommitted in an environment that is just flooded with negative energy.
But I mean, we're all human, but do you feel that by responding the way that you responded, do you feel upset about the fact that you responded the way you did?
I did at the moment. Yes, I did. And I apologize for it. And I feel a whole lot better for it now, because I caught it like that. And I made amends immediately.
Now, last week, we talked about letting go of negative people and situations. So I want to back up for just a moment. This person that snapped at you, were they just being a negative person, or did they have a right to snap at you?
They were caught up in the same negative moment in the environment.
Now, may I ask, was this someone that you work with, or was this
someone I work with? That's all I'm going to say. Yet, she's in the environment as well. And when I apologized and said, I'm not that person, there's a deeper, I'm getting to something here, you guys, just be patient with me and give me a minute. When I said to her, that is not who I am. And she hugged me and she said, it's okay. Here's what's so easy to say for most people. Just don't let people get to you. I'm an empath.
But
I feel everything, I feel, and when it's really, 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 she wasn't being disrespectful. She had a trigger reaction, and then I had a reply. And
Well,
then let me finish, Richard. When I said that's not who I am, well, guess what? There must be something like that in me, or I wouldn't have done it. That's my point. That's my point. There is something like that in me. There is. I'm I'm a human being. I do the work that I do, and I teach people how to let stuff go. Yet I still have my moments.
mhm,
And so it was better for me to accept responsibility for my side of it. Now I didn't get an apology, but I wasn't looking for one.
mhm,
It wasn't necessary. What was necessary was for me to clear the karma I had just created with this person and clear it up. It was really important to energetically clear it up. It didn't matter. It didn't matter if I got anything from her. It was nice of her to be so kind about it.
mhm.
Yet I thought, oh, isn't it interesting? We're doing this show tomorrow, and look what I just did. Look what I just co-created.
Hmm. I want
What
to go to
about you? What about you, Richard?
I want to go to the far extreme with this scenario, if I may. Um, Years ago, there was a road rage incident where a woman was. This was in Mississippi or Alabama. It was on the news. It was a major story at the time. This woman was cut off on the road. The woman flipped to the bird, and then, but it escalated, and it escalated in a really bad area.
Mhm.
And this woman that was cut off reached into her glove compartment, pulled a gun, and shot this woman and
That
killed her.
happens a lot. Hmm.
Killed her. And she was there when the police arrived. And she said, I've never done anything like this in my life. I just was pushed over the edge, and I reacted. That's why I always say, and this is Richard Skipper talking, and I'm not putting my beliefs on anyone else. When someone says that the only thing that separates a bad person with a gun is a good person with a gun, uh,
Yeah,
if
I've
we
heard that.
lived in a society where everybody had guns, I mean, we're fighting right now in New York City that Times Square is a no gun zone,
Hmm.
and but the Attorney General uh, is fighting this, and judges are fighting this, saying that people should be able to carry a gun. And Times Square, even right now, you bump into somebody and they're going to react in a way that is may not be who they really are. That evil force has come out all
Hmm.
of a sudden, and but once you have reacted in that way, it's hard to turn back the pages. Luckily, in your situation, it was nothing more than an argument. Because an argument, you do have the ability to say, "I'm sorry. I'm going to pull
I,
back. I'm going to be."
I don't say I'm sorry because I don't like the word sorry. I like the word apologize.
Mhm. But you apologized.
I did. I apologized.
You had the option to do that. There are some people who are so stubborn and stuck in their ways that they will say, "I'm not going to apologize. I haven't done anything to
Oh,
apologize."
absolutely. Yeah, and people get. I've counseled people on road rage. I healed myself of road rage long ago. I taught myself how to be more patient and understanding and compassionate on the road. Because people, guess what? They'll do that here in Santa Fe. People get run over. I mean, other drivers just get mad at each other just for no reason. Just they just mad. It doesn't have to involve any other gestures or anything. They just get mad and hit people and wave guns at people.
Well,
It's and but yeah, road rage is rampant in our. It's rampant all over the world. Let's face it, and it's dangerous, and it's from people being addicted to being right, b determined to get their way, no matter how many other people are on the street with them, but also them feeling like also feeling entitled. Yet when drivers get mad at each other, they think that the other person feels entitled. It's this war of entitlement on the road. I remember, well, I've been chased. I was chased by a woman in Dallas in her car because I put my signal on. She was not right next to me. I pulled over. She decided to speed up so I couldn't pull over. I didn't see her. And then chased me around White Rock Lake because I almost hit her.
It's crazy.
And I just let go of that. Let go and get on your merry way. So my question, Richard, is what about you? I mean, I know you. You know, we all get angry about things. We all have feelings about things. What about you? Have you had a moment lately where what was kind of maybe a darker side of you or something negative within you that you had to get a hold of or needed to get a grip on?
On a daily basis.
Okay,
No,
next.
I am no, I'm serious. I don't. I mean, it's very interesting because Howard made a comment a few moments ago, and he said that he's never seen that side of me. I present an image to the world, to my friends, to everybody who knows me, that everything is always hunky dory.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been moments where I have retreated rather than to say what's really on my mind, what I'm feeling or something, because what good is that going to do in the scheme of things? I don't want to be a doormat, but by the same token, I feel that it's not where I want to go.
Right.
And as a result of that, if something really gets under my skin and I acknowledge it on social media or something, it lights up like a Christmas tree. But there's something that I want to say to everybody here because Natasha made a comment and I'm going to bring it on camera. But my problem is, even if I'm in the right, I apologize. And that is something that I am guilty of as well. But I think that because of the way that I present myself to the world, if I do write something that's under my skin or something, alarm bells go off. People call me going, "Are you okay? Is this, why would you post something like this?" Not to attack someone, but just to say what I'm feeling. And something that I want to say to every single person who's watching here right now, feelings are real.
Yeah.
And if you're feeling something,
Mm-hmm.
whether the other person is in the right or the wrong, or in neither of those places, if you're feeling a certain feeling, those feelings are real. What gets me and talking about, I mean, those of us, I think I can only speak for myself. I can't even speak for you, Kasira. But the fact is that I'm strong enough to be able to say, okay, I'm not going to engage in this. I'm going to walk away from it. I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to not let it escalate. But a lot of people don't have that power. And right now, we've talked about this as well. The crime rate in New York City has escalated to an alarming rate.
I
Uh,
know that.
People are being killed on the subway. I mean, the idea of even getting on a subway now is something that petrifies me. And you never know when you're sitting in a movie theater or I had a guy when we went to see Lincoln, and he was like, had one of these cellophane bags full of candy or something. And he was constantly like, and I finally, after like 25 minutes of this, said, "Are you going to eat through the entire show?" And it set him off. It set him off. I mean, Danny and I moved because we were afraid this guy was going to attack one of us. And I hate to say this, but as a gay couple going out in public in certain places, that triggers people with anger sometimes. I mean, I have not really been a victim of that, but I've heard of stories from many people where that has happened. Or disliking someone because of their skin color, or because they're wearing a hijab or something. People need to live and let live as long as it's not hurting other people.
Well, that's easy to say, Richard.
I know it is. I know it is.
Because people of specific beliefs often feel that everybody else who doesn't believe what they believe or practice their religion is hurting the planet. It's true. There's something I want to read from my book. Everybody who has it, anybody who has it, the book I write Why We Hold On to Thoughts and Feelings. It starts on page 88, and I think we should look at this tonight while we're talking. But on page 94, I talk about my father saying that he's not sentimental. He's objective. It's a very funny conversation. It's true conversation. I quote him almost word for word, and he knows, he's read it. I write on page 94, the key is to be mindful and to catch our negative thoughts and feelings before they lead to negative beliefs, actions, and language. Here's the thing. We might want to, while we're sitting here, we might want to look at the anatomy of an apology. Because if we're apologizing when we really don't feel it's necessary, that's martyring ourselves, and that's just a big old no-no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We just can't. We to be healthy, we cannot. When we do that, we're accepting responsibility for the other person's actions and energy, and it's not helping them at all. It's not assisting them at all in their growth. Here, I believe that if I feel, I've told you, we've talked about things like this before,
Mm-hmm.
things that happen with things that occur with other people, that they have their thoughts and feelings about something, and especially about something we believe. And I told you, remember, I had a friend that got mad at me because I got back. Remember back in the pandemic, I got vaccinated and she wouldn't, and I said, you can't come in my home.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't. I'm not letting you. Anybody who's not been vaccinated cannot come in my home. And she didn't speak to me for months.
Well,
hang on. I did not apologize to her. I never apologized to her. And finally, one day, months later, we're hanging out again. We're friends again, because I was really concerned about her. And I left a note on her door, and I just said, how are you? I didn't have her. She changed her number. I didn't have it. She called me and apologized to me. And I didn't say anything. I said, well, thank you. That's nice. But I didn't say thank you so much, like I was waiting for it, or, I didn't say, oh, that's not necessary. I didn't say anything. Just as we deserve the space and the opportunity to apologize for something we think we must apologize for. It's only fair that we give other people the space and the time and the energy to apologize if they feel it's necessary, and not jump in the way of it. The worst thing we can say to someone who's apologizing to us is, oh, that's okay. Oh, don't worry about it. Oh, because that totally negates their apology.
Right.
And one of my least favorite phrases in the world, and I didn't put it in the book, and I should have, is, well, I'm sorry if I upset you. Or, oh, I'm sorry if I made you mad. Well, you didn't make me mad. You didn't upset me. That's how I processed it. And here's why. I felt your words hurtful. I felt they were hurtful. Yet you didn't hurt me. It's the way I processed it. What I'm concerned about is why you came at me like that.
Ah, good point.
That's the concern.
Mm-hmm.
It's not whether or not you did something wrong and I got upset about it. It's why did you come at me like that? Why did you say that? Why do you think that about me? Why do you believe that about me? Why couldn't you hear my side of it without fighting to be addicted to being right about your side of it? That's the real conversation here. Well, it's the anatomy of a disagreement. It's the anatomy of opposing beliefs and thoughts and feelings. And, why can't we have a conversation about that?
I brought Lisa's comment on camera.
Okay.
I was physically assaulted in May, and the person who did it refused to apologize or even acknowledge anything he did. How do I move past the humiliation and anger? You answer that, and then I've got something that I want to say about this as well.
Well, first of all, was it a legal thing? Could you report it to the police? Did you take legal action? That's the first thing.
Mhm.
You know, oftentimes when things like that occur, when we co-create things of that nature, we take legal action. That's the process in America. You
Mhm.
take legal action if it's a legal matter, you take legal action.
Lisa
If
says
you
no.
Okay, so I don't know what to tell you. We can't it's unrealistic for us to demand anything from anyone. When I cook for people, I know this may sound trivial, but it's kind of on the same page.
Mm.
When I cook for people and I give them a plastic bowl of something, I don't expect to get that bowl back.
Oh my God.
I mean,
Well,
it's what are our expectations of people? If someone physically assaulted me, I would be, honey, I would take an Amtrak to the next. I would take a helicopter to the police station.
mhm.
You know, but that's neither here nor there. Uh, I I would, if you don't feel, legal action is the way to go, and if you don't feel comfortable doing that, let it go. You cannot force anyone, especially someone violent, to do anything you expect them to do, especially apologize. Why
Well,
would a violent person apologize to us? They meant it.
mhm.
You know, yes, go ahead.
No, I want to acknowledge the flip side of this in terms of letting go. There are certain people in our lives who are also triggers. I mean, that may not be a word that you want to use, but there are certain people we know when we are in their presence that there are certain aspects or things or either actions or words that are part of their pattern. That's not to what's the word I'm looking for? That's not to uh, negate who they are, because one of my favorite quotes in the world is Maya Angelou: when someone shows you who they are, believe them. We know who some of these people are. And
Mhm.
yet, and this goes to another aspect of your book when you talk about the stories that we tell over and over again. It's the same thing with us going back to these people and allowing these stories that are repetitive to happen again. I totally agree with you. Um, a person will only assault me once,
Mhm.
because then I'm going to say that's unacceptable. Never touch me like that again, and I'm out of here. And
Mhm.
I'm strong enough to be able to do so. I can honestly say, I mean, and I hear about relationship. I am very, very fortunate. I mean, in almost 33 years, we have never hit each other or assaulted each other, although I've given him good reason to do so on more than one occasion. But we respect each other enough to not go that route. And yet I know of relationships where people are, it's like George and Martha from Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf every night of the week. I had two roommates years ago that were, I would come home and I would go to my room and shut the door because I was afraid of what was going to ensue before the evening was over. And I walked around for years on eggshells. And I'll tell another thing. I came to New York. I've told this story a million times when I was 18 years old. Um, I grew up in an alcoholic household. And when you live in that kind of an environment,
So did I.
you are,
On my mother's side, not my father's side. On my mother's side, yeah.
but my father, my father would get off work on Friday evening, and by 7 o'clock in that evening, he would either be uh, passed out or he would be in a bad mood. And a
Right.
lot of his anger was taken out on me, being the oldest child. And then I came to New York, and my weekends were jam packed with activities. And I didn't realize until almost 10 years into living in New York City that I was still internalizing, whether I was even aware of it or not. I wasn't aware of it. The anxiety that I used to feel on weekends.
Mhm. Mhm.
And thank God I had a great therapist who got me through that so that I was able to let go
Mhm.
of that aspect of my life. But
Mhm.
we all have I think most people have in their lives someone who either, you know, does what they do. If they do it a second or a third time, it's because we've given them carte blanche to do so.
Mm-hmm. Well, as children who have no place else to go, we tolerate it. I did it, you know. You know that feeling when you have an alcoholic parent, and for me it was my mother. And when my grandmother hated, my fraternal grandmother hated driving me back home to her because she knew it was a terrible environment, you know. And legally she had to. And I remember dreading going home because I never knew which Charlotte I was gonna find when I got home. There's a lot of people I know that feel this way. Who felt this way as a child. Oh God, what's going to happen when I get home? What's she going to do to me when I get home? Am I going to find my bedroom torn up? Is she going to start on me the minute I get home? You know, is she going to hit me again? Is she going to start a fight? Is she going to slap me? Is she going to? And finally, my grandparents, you know, made a deal with her when I was in high school, and it's in my book. You can read about it in my book. I won't tell the story, but it's in my book. The story's in my book about what happened and the violence and what led to me, my grandparents literally buying me from my mother. I had to still stay there for a couple of months so they could. I found out later, not until I was in my 30s did I find this out, that my grandparents had to save up the money to buy me from her to get me out of here, or she wouldn't let me go. So yes, we grew up with innate darkness in our environment, and it's traumatic. It reverberates. And you know, something else I was going to mention, because I was going to mention those negative stories that we perpetuate and they go on and on and on. Well, guess what? That's the next chapter I was going to refer to is the one on that starts at 174, slanderous language, descriptions, and titles.
Mm-hmm.
You know that, and then we get into that really slanderous language. The people that, you know, I work with them. You know, people that complain and to cause dissension, and you know, have angry outbursts all the time, and we're all just supposed to put up with it. Or they come in a bad mood, and we're all just supposed to put up with it. I do it every day. I deal with that every day on my civilian job. So yeah, yes, that is. I use the term evil loosely. Mm-hmm. It's really the darkness. It's really the darkness within us, and it is evil because it negatively affects other people in our environment. That it's the energy of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the energy of it, and people that, yes, Pam, stirring the pot. Yes, exactly. Or starting up something, starting up the whirlwind. Yes. And they're anybody who's done The Artist's Way, they're crazy makers. Yes. There's lots of different kinds. There's lots of different kinds of crazy makers, right? Yeah, the dark crazy makers are the ones that come in and go, "How are you? Annoyed. How's your day? Horrible." And that's how it starts. And that's what you get for the rest of the day. Horrible and annoyed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they're determined. Nobody does anything about it. The superiors don't do anything about it. They'll go have a talk. Hey, listen, you really need to knock it off and be nicer to people. Okay. And then they walk out of the office and they're just the same people they were before they walked in the office and got a lecture. These people are, we can't change anybody but ourselves. We can't control anyone but ourselves. Everybody knows that. Yet I think in the back of our minds, we still think we can, you know. Oh, well, I'm going to show them by example. Well, screw that. Just be yourself. Just be a nice person and don't even think about being an example for all those people, because guess what? They don't want it. They don't want your example. They are who they are, and they think what they think, and they believe what they believe, and they're going to do what they do. You know, we just got to be us. We just got to be us and be the aware ones and let stuff go constantly, because these are people that never let anything go. Ever.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Now I'm processing everything you're saying. There's certain. There was someone who was in my life years ago, and always used to, if there well, I'll mention Carol Channing again, who's there with the flashing lights behind your head. But anytime something was written negatively about her in the paper, and it happened a lot, he would send them to me. And I would say, why are you sending this to me? Because you know that she's a friend of mine, and you know that this is going to upset me.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, I think you should know about this. Well, I don't want to know about it.
Yeah.
It's like that idea. My grandmother used to say, what people think of you is none of your business. Let it go. Is it going to add to, how is it going to elevate me? How is it going to bring me up? And there are even, on Facebook, there is a device, I don't know if any of you use it, where you can snooze somebody for 30 days. Or you can say, I need a break. There's also that action now. That's a new thing that they've taken, where you can just take a break from seeing that person's post, because there are certain people out there and everything is negative, 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 negative. And that we bring that into our bodies and our souls if we're seeing this on a constant basis. I know that you have no control. Maybe you do, in terms of the people that you work with, and you do.
Well, that's we. It's not me. It's all of us.
Yes.
We don't have control over people unless we're a boss and can fire people.
Exactly.
We all of us. We all have people like, it's not just work. It's everywhere. We all. I'm sure. I don't know one person that has an environment where everybody's pleasant and nobody's rude and everybody. I don't know anybody.
I had that.
I
worked for a company. This company, believe it or not,
I'm not talking about just work, Richard. I'm talking about any environment in our lives. But go ahead.
With this particular company, the book Biorhythms had come out. And so they built their company based on that book. And they believe that certain people are better in the morning, and some people are better in the evening, and some people, it changes. So what they did, what they required of all of us is that we would put in a 40-hour work week. When those hours were up to us. So we were not obligated to work 9 to 5 or 8 to 4. We came in to the office when it worked for us. Believe it or not, the company ran like a well-oiled machine. There were never any issues. Everybody was in a good mood in the office. It was literally like going to a party I couldn't wait to get to work. I love the job because I could go in at any given time, and I never knew who would be there at any specific time either. And I know that every company cannot work that way. There'd be chaos in the world if every company worked that way. But this was a small company, and they knew what they were doing, and it worked in that type of environment. And I think that, first of all, when someone is and we put up with things sometimes, Kasira, because, well, that person does great job. This aspect of that person's life is wonderful. But, and you know this, because you and I have talked about this, there are people that I still do business with that I need to let go of. And I know that I need to let go of them.
Yeah.
Because of the negativity that comes. The work may be great, but the negativity that comes with it is even higher.
Well, here's the thing. I don't like the word need. Sometimes it slips out of my mouth because it's all that people understand.
Right.
If I use a term, listen, people, all of you, all my LTGers out there. If I use the word desire or require on my job, they would fire me. They would go, "What do you mean you require this from me?" So, can I just say something to you?
Absolutely.
Richard Skipper. I feel that it's not a matter of needing to let go of certain people, because I know exactly I know you. We know what you're talking about. It's your desires for yourself and your career and your environment and what's required to achieve that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just I need to let some people go. It's deeper than that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's deeper. And we all experience that. What is my personal? I'm working through something myself. I'm evolving through something myself in my personal life about what I desire and require.
I told you I'm married. It's true. It's true. Stop climbing that tree.
That's so funny. No, but you know, in my where you know, it just I'm not going to go into the details yet. I'm looking at that too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it has to do with location. It has to do with where I physically live. You know, and what because I've lived you know in New York and L.A. and Dallas and Cozumel for a minute and here and you know, and I'm looking at what's best for me, and also you know. What's also best for the people closest to me that miss me that I miss. You know, I'm looking at that. I'm going, well, what? And I'm leaving it. You know, I'm doing my prayer, what I do. I'm doing my own prayer work, and I'm getting out of my own way and allowing higher consciousness to talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's what happened yesterday when I snapped at the person that yelled at me. I got out of the way. I heard myself and I immediately jumped out of the way. I got out of the way. And higher consciousness immediately said, apologize right now. Just do it now. Just get it out of the way. And I didn't mention what she did. I didn't mention her part of it. I just did my part of it. I did my side of it. There's so many aspects and levels. I call it, you know, I live on an island. We're all an island. And there's so many sea levels to the water around my island.
Mm-hmm.
And I, you know, they're deep and there's some are calm and some are swirling. And it's all about our thoughts and emotions and how our knee-jerk reactions from those moments.
Mm-hmm.
And I write in my book about being mindful. I just read it. It calls for us being more mindful in the moment, taking lots of deep breaths and just stopping ourselves for a moment and collecting ourselves, because that's all we've really got. We're not that other person. Yes, we're all interconnected. Yes, we are. We're all interconnected. Yet we are the keepers and the, you know, the directors of our own higher selves and our own reactions, our own thoughts, feelings, beliefs, language, and reactions. We are responsible for our part of it.
Absolutely.
I haven't heard anybody. I'm interested to hear what people have to say about anything they feel is part of their innate darkness.
I'll bring up a couple of comments. This is from Alan.
Uh-huh. I can't see it though.
So we can acknowledge our innate inherent dark side, but be conscious about avoiding hurting someone, editing negative thoughts, and monitoring our behavior.
Does Alan have the book?
I think I don't know if Alan has the book or not. I think he does. The basic considerations is what we express, uplifting, life-affirming, kind, etc. Alan, do you have the book? We'll find out in a moment. But again, we having our own island. We're also yes.
Oh, good. Alan does have the book. Thank you,
yes.
Alan.
Yes.
Thank you, Alan. I like to know where people are coming from and if you're on my page. Thank you, Alan. That was wonderful.
As our own island or our own, I call it my own production company. Mm-hmm. We allow who we will allow in our production company. There was a woman in my life who was a little out there. To put, I don't know the right words to use without offending somebody, but she was out there and she didn't have a censor, and she would say things that would just pop into her head, and a lot of times she would say the most inopportune thing or the most inappropriate thing at the worst moment, and she was crazy for this. And Danny and I used to throw a summer barbecue, and in our parties, everybody was here from every walk of life, famous people, non-famous people, gay, straight, transgendered, non-binary, everything was at our parties. So she called me up one time and she said, "Are you having your party?" And I said, "Yes." She said, "Do you mind if I bring a friend?" And I said, "No, that's absolutely fine." So she called me up and I had to tell her that you and Danny were gay. I said, "Well, why did you have to tell her that?" Obviously, she would know that, I guess, as soon as she met us or something. Um, but would you call somebody and say, "We've been invited to a party, but they're Black or they're Asian or they're Irish or they're any of these things"? Why did she feel a need to call this person to say, "We're invited to this party, but they're gay"? And so she was here at the party, and somebody who was here, who has since passed on, who was transitioning at the time, she made a nasty comment to her friend about this person as they walked by. And I walked over and I took their plates from them. And I said, "I hope you've had a good time, but I'd like you to leave now, because our home is a safe haven for everybody. And I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable because they overheard something that you had." Now, this was something that happened to me. And then I heard on this documentary about Maya Angelou that she was throwing a big party. Oprah Winfrey tells this story. And Maya Angelou walked over to the person and said, "Did you come with someone? Do you have a coat? Do you have a hat? Please let me know, because I'm getting those things now, because my house is for everybody, but not for people who are going to pull away from that." And a lot of times, and this is something I want to ask you about, we are not exactly islands, because we are all, as you just said, also interconnected with one another.
Well, let me just.
I want to finish this question, and then I'm going to be quiet so you can answer all of it. But
Okay.
when you see a situation where someone is being disrespectful or hurtful to another person, do you keep quiet, or do you acknowledge, or do you call that person on it?
It depends on the situation. The reason I use the terminology of everyone's an island, allegedly the last words of the historic Buddha that we talk about, Gautama, Shakyamuni, in India, the people that everybody referred to as the Buddha. By the way, he was not the only Buddha in existence. Buddhas have come and gone for eons, for years and years and years. He's the one that we just know about. And Nichiren Daishonin is a Buddha of the latter day, that's the Buddhism I practice, which was derived from the historic Buddha. The Buddha said before he died, and by the way, he died because someone offered him a bowl of mushrooms to eat, not knowing they were poisonous. And all of the Buddha's disciples were very angry with this man. "Oh, you're killing the Buddha." And Gautama said, or Shakyamuni, whatever you want to call him, Siddhartha, whatever you want to call him, said, "How can you be so upset with someone that wanted to feed me, that gave me a gift?" And some of his last words were, "Be an island. Do not look to anyone outside yourself for your salvation and or your enlightenment." That's what I'm saying when I say we're all islands. We are each responsible for our own enlightenment, whatever you want to call it. We are each responsible for that. Richard is not responsible for my enlightenment, and I'm not responsible for his. We're each responsible for our own. So that's where I get the term island. There have been incidences at work where we have somebody that just lashes out at everybody. And I almost stepped in the other day, and then I left it alone, because here's why. People will not go stand up for themselves, especially in a professional setting, if we do it for them. And if they want to do something about it, if they want to change their environment, especially when there's a possibility that they can through authorities, authoritative figures, then they have to take charge when they're young and learn how to do that, not expect everyone else to go do it for them. They have to be an island and take responsibility for what they just co-created. Now, if somebody's hitting someone or throwing stuff, oh yeah, you better believe I'm going to jump in there, honey. I have my self-defense certificate.
Good for you.
And I have a little weapon on my keychain. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But
When it comes to, I
you
would
just
totally
said
jump in
something
and
that a light
get
bulb just
physically
went
violent.
off. And
Huh?
that is, you just said something and a light bulb
Okay.
went off. And this is a
Uh-huh.
message for all of us tonight. That and you know, and I don't want to paraphrase what you've said, but it's that I don't look to you for my enlightenment, or anyone else for that matter. We need,
Mm-hmm.
all of us need to find it within ourselves. And once you have it within yourself, you can put it out into the world as well.
You know, I'm watching, somebody just said that where are you?
Natasha?
Oh, Howard. Hi, Howard. Howard said that I try very hard to never comment on people's weight or appearance ever. Years ago, I complimented a friend who lost weight and found out that he had been very sick. I am still told it's unhealthy to be overweight, as if I'd never heard that before. And then, who's Amphico? Howard, I have learned to do that myself. And you know what? Some an acquaintance and her sister came in, who I know, where I work, for an appointment, and she goes, "Oh, hi," and her sister said, "Oh, and you've lost weight." I don't like it when people say that to me, Howard, either. I mean, you know, it's because what it says is, what the meaning behind, "Oh, you lost weight," is, "Oh, you required to lose some weight and you finally did it." I prefer to say, "You look fabulous." And I always follow it up with, "Not that you didn't before, yet you look really fabulous today."
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, people are touchy, and I don't blame them for being touchy. Yeah.
I'm going to pull up.
And by the way, uh, you know, when I've had some celebrations at home in Dallas, especially, where I invited everybody and they had a great time. My parents, my father, my stepmother, her mother, who was Native American, some straight couples with their grown kids, gay couples, gay friends, and because that's who I am, that's my life, and I invite everybody, and nobody cares, and I don't call everybody and go, "Oh, by the way, some gay people are coming. Oh, by the way, some straight people are coming. You know, just be aware." I don't even go there. I just invite, and they all show up. And they all have a great time. When I used to sing in gay-owned bars, my father and my brother used to come see me in gay bars. And the only thing my father said was, "Is it safe to go to the bathroom?" I'm like, "Yes, Dad, just go to the bathroom."
But, you know, I'll tell you, the night that my parents met Danny, I was performing in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, as Judy Garland. So it was the first time that my parents were seeing me, first of all, in drag. They were, it was my sister went to get my parents to come to the show, and it was a late show. It was an 11 o'clock show. And my parents were already in bed when my sister went to pick them up. And my mom said, "I'm not going to a gay bar." And my sister said, "This is your son. You're going to go. I'm going to make sure you're going to go."
Oh, shoot.
My parents came. They met Danny for the first time that night. And the next night, my dad came back with my sister to see the show a second night. He had a great time. You know,
I love it.
So we're going to run out of time, but you want to do a meditation before we end?
Does anybody want to do a little quick meditation about letting go of the embracing some of the darkness within ourselves and making peace with it and moving on? Anybody?
I think so. I think everybody.
Yes, no. We can do that.
Unless you want to read from your book, that could be a meditative process as well.
I think I want to read. I'm not getting any answers from anybody.
Okay.
Oh, everybody says, "Sure. Okay. All right. Sure. All right." Okay. Before I read, we're going to do meditation. And why don't we end after the meditation? I just want to, as we're going to talk about this later. I just feel compelled to read this from page 174, the chapter on slanderous language descriptions and titles. And it just so happens that there's a quote from Gautama Siddhartha on the top of the page. Words have the power to both destroy and heal. When we are both true and kind, they can change our world. And I write, language is powerful. Thoughts, feelings, and words become things. The way we describe ourselves and others and talk about and label ourselves and others creates and emits an energy that journeys out into the universe and brings boomerang like matches. Yeah. A great example is the word spell. When it is described as a magical incantation, when we speak, we are figuratively casting spells. Just want to say that. Let's meditate, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, put your hands up like this. Or just on your lap. I just want you to know that. Just put your hands down your lap if you want to, but make sure they're up like this. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. Deep breath. Imagine your chakra channel, your prana tube, breathing in that glorious, universal, divine air from above your head, bringing it through your body, through your crown chakra, your third eye, through your shoulders, your throat chakra, breathing it down through your heart chakra, your tummy, your solar plexus, your sacral chakra, which is your sexual chakra, down through your anal area, which is your grounding area, down through your feet. You're bringing it back up. Up through your crown chakra. It goes through the universe for all infinity. And when it comes through your feet, it goes through all infinity. Just breathe that in. So just as this powerful, soothing, universal energy runs through our entire bodies, through all of our energetic bodies and out into the universe and back again, so can our mercy and our compassion for ourselves run through our bodies, our physical body and our energetic bodies. The compassion for ourselves, the compassion to envelop and embrace all aspects of ourselves. And remember, we're all unicorns, which makes everybody else a unicorn. And we can all have compassion for all the other unicorns around us and on the planet. We pick our battles. The first thing we must remember is to first have compassion for ourselves and embrace every aspect of ourselves. For then it's possible to embrace other unicorns and have compassion for them as well. Let's imagine us embracing ourselves, being compassionate with ourselves, and imagine this energy emitting out like a magic mist from our heart chakra, middle of our chest. Imagine it misting out, smoking out from our bodies, through the room we're sitting in, out of the walls, out of the doors, out of the windows, through our roofs, through the floor, misting out to our neighbors on the street, misting out through our neighborhood, that loving, compassionate, embracing energy, embracing our city, our town, embracing next town over, the countryside, through the cities and towns in our state. Watch that loving, compassionate mist just roll over everything around us, through our country, over the waters, through the other countries on our planet. This loving, violet, pink energy just enveloping our planet and loving and embracing everything with compassion. Mentally come back into your mind, into your head, into your body. Leave that mist out there. Let the planet have that mist as a gift. That healing energy is a gift without expecting anything back. Just let it go. Bring yourself into your body. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers. Another breath. When you're ready, open your eyes. Gather yourself a little bit. Would anybody like to share about something they just let go of? Richard?
I want to go back to something you said earlier, and that is to the enlightenment that's within each of us, and to let go of the expectations that I put on other people to increase or to add to that enlightenment. So that's something that I will work on in the coming days. Before we do wrap up tonight, I want to say a couple of things. Erin Galore, thank you for being with us tonight.
Hi, Erin.
And Erin will be joining us next Sunday. Am I correct?
No, next Sunday. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to start that with
no. The following week.
Actually, next Sunday is about letting go of the ghosts in our past.
Yes.
And then the following Sunday is our next full moon show, which Erin will be helping us facilitate, and he will have his singing bell, and we decided to do a little bit longer meditation at the end of that one. Yeah.
Okay. So
I'm not going to end. I think that's a great way to end the show. I want to thank everybody for watching. Thank you so much, everybody. I don't have time to mention everybody. You know who you are. Thank you so much. This was so fun. And I'm so glad you're enjoying this, because that's the whole point. If you didn't, we wouldn't be doing it. We'll see you next Sunday, right?
I love you. And
I love you more.
I'm married. I'll talk with you later. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
It's gonna be a brighter day. Don't worry. It's gonna be a brighter day. Yeah, yeah. Don't worry. It's gonna be a brighter day. Don't worry. It's gonna be a brighter day. Don't worry. So don't let nothing get you down. There's goodness all around. Keep the love in your heart and hold your head high. Give all the love and kindness you can.